Hello, all. Welcome to another new day to meet in another interesting person from the Indian history page book under the story series from Azadi Amrit Mahotsav from Mommyshravmusings. We have been meeting in very interesting, brave legends across India under the Azadi Amrit Mahotsav story series so far, right? Today, let us move to Tamil Nadu region of Indian subcontinent and meet this interesting queen from Tamil Nadu. Yeah, I could see that the moment I say queen, most of you would be surprised because we haven't read about any queen or princesses from the Tamil Nadu history books, isn't it? But there are so many people who are very good administrators and very good queens in Tamil Nadu history as well. Let us turn the pages of the Indian history book to 16th century and meet this queen from the Nayakar Dynasty uh, and talk about her. And you might, the moment I say Nayakar Dynasty, again, some of you must be frowning because fortunately or unfortunately, we haven't read much about Nayakar Dynasty from Tamil Nadu in our history books. So that is the reason why before even I take you directly to Queen Mangammal, I want you to understand little bit about Tamil Nadu history at a high level to see who exactly is this Nayakar dynasty and in what way they are connected to Tamil Nadu. Most of our history books states the fact that Tamil Nadu was ruled by mostly Cholas, Cheras, and Pandyas. What the history books have forgotten to include or neglected to include is that Vijayanagara kings from the Vijayanagara Empire has actually occupied Madurai, Greater Madurai area called Madurai Nadu and established the Nayakar kingdom at that point of time in 16 that is around 15th 16th centuries after the Pandyas empire went on a decline. So um, these Vijayanagar kings had established Madurai kingdom called Madurai, and that kingdom was being taken care by Madurai Nayagars. Here, Nayagars means army chiefs, local army chiefs. Because Vijayanagar Empire's capital is at Hampi, which is far off from all the different parts of South India, and to manage each and every region which were divided into smaller kingdoms at that point of time, directly from Hampi used to be humongous task. The Vijayanagara kings wisely have appointed the local chieftains as the ruling kings on behalf of them. And these Nayagars were ruling Madurai at that point of time. We are not talking about all the Nayagars at this here. When Vijayanagara Empire went on a decline after the Talikota battle, Madurai Nayagars had revolted against Vijayanagara kings and declared independence for themselves. So that is how the Madurai Nayagar kingdom has formed. Till that time, it was Madurai Nadu, which was like ruled by Vijayanagara kings. But the Madurai Nayagar kingdom has formed after the Vijayanagara Empire went on a wane period. We are not talking about all the kings from the Nayakar dynasty. What we are interested is mainly the Chokkanatha Nayakar, who is apparently the grandson of Thirumal Nayakar. For some of the history buffs like me, would have heard about Thirumal Nayakar being a very good king who has brought Madurai to its zenith and all the stories, right? Let us not worry too much about Thirumal Nayakar. Let us concentrate on Chokkanatha Nayakar and our main protagonist of today's story, which is nothing but Queen Mangammal. Chokkanatha Nayakar got married to Queen Mangammal, and Queen Mangammal actually is the daughter of another Nayakar family from Chandragiri region in Andhra Pradesh. Because of this marriage, they had a son by name Muthu Veerappa Nayakar. And remember, we're talking about 16th century here, where the entire India was in a turbulent state. And at that point of time, the Basha of India is Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb had most of the different regions in India under his control, except the few white areas which are being shown on the map here, like Madurai Nadu, then Travancore Regency, then Tanjavur, which is being ruled by Marathas, we saw already, and then Senji, Mysore, which is being ruled by Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan and all the other people. So then all these local Hindus always used to wage war against each other or against Mughals to expand their kingdom. They were always on the war-torn path. They wanted to establish their supremacy by winning over the other kings or small tribal lords in this area. And Chokkanath Nagar was also not averse to wars. In fact, he was also a war-loving king who used to always work on war strategies, go on wars. When any country is at war, what is the direct impact of the wars? Their economy will go down the drain, isn't it? Because most of the expenses are being spent, most of the money is being spent on the war. The common man is the person who will be suffering because of the war. And same is the case with Madurai Nadu as well. There was no the common man was suffering so much that there was no proper living for them. Their employment was taking a hit. Nobody was doing agriculture and all the other traditional employment options like weaving and then art, craft, everything. Nothing was happening at that point of time. And the army's health was also going on a decline. In the similar way, Chokkanath Nagar, because of the continuous warfare and all, his body got tired and he was affected with smallpox virus. And he died in 1682. And that's the time when our Muthu Veerappa Nagar was only 15 years old boy. And as per the societal norms at that point of time, when any king dies, his wife will perform sati, similar to that in the northern India, right? So, but our Queen Mangammal is the first lady who has stood against sati and said, this is not a right practice for me to do at this point of time. Though I love my husband, I cannot perform sati along with him because Madurai needs a very stable ruler. Now, and my son, who is just a 15-year-old boy, is not a trained on the political side, nor on the military side, or any other side. So he is still having his education. So it is me who needs to train him. So I'm not going to do sati. If otherwise the king are willing to go ahead and perform sati, they can feel free to go ahead and do that. And so Queen Mangammal uh, uh, didn't do sati, but she started advising Veerappa Nagar in the political administration, in everything. Remember, my dear friends, Queen Mangammal at that point of time is not a typical queen which who have seen so far. She is not trained on the military skills like archery, bow and arrow, horse riding, or any of that. And she's not even trained on the political administration. All she's trained is on the fine art side, like how other ladies in Tamil Nadu at that point of time were. She's a highly educated lady. She knows dancing, and she's the best dancer at that point of time. And she also knows music. But these things cannot help a queen to rule the entire kingdom, isn't it? And that too, a kingdom which is in turmoil. Fortunately, for Queen Mangammal, she knows what her strengths are and what her weaknesses are, and she used them to her advantage. And our Veerappa Nagar had taken reins from as soon as his father had passed away. And just to tell you how strong this queen is and how good her upbringing of Veerappa Nagar is, I will share with you this one incident. At that point of time, as I already told you, Aurangzeb is the Basha of India. And he always has this fancy ideas or what you can call maybe silly or finicky ideas. And once in a while he should send his golden slipper on top of an elephant in the form of a procession to entire India. And whichever kingdom's premise outskirts this procession reaches, that king has to receive this shoe and the associated procession with all the royal pomp and glory. Take the procession to his court, put that shoe on top of the throne instead of him sitting there, and worship that shoe and give it back to the procession. Along with that, pay the associated taxes. And most of the people used to follow that because they know that Aurangzeb is a short-tempered person, and if they don't treat this shoe in this particular way, then there are chances that Aurangzeb might come and attack them. And Aurangzeb's battalion, cavalry, everything is multifold when compared to the battalion, any army battalion of the small kingdoms, right, which are being spread across the India. Here comes a twist in the tale. In the similar way, one day, the shoe and its associated possession reached Madurai kingdom's outskirts. But to surprisingly, none of the royal court members were present to welcome this procession at the outskirts. The procession chief members got surprised a little bit, but anyways, based on the Aurangzeb's orders, they need to go and talk to king and pass on this message of the shoe. So they went to the fort of Trichy. At that point of time, the capital city of Madurai Nadu is Trichy. So they went and met Veerappa Nayagar in Trichy and asked for his audience. Veerappa Nayagar called them into the main hall of the court, his court, and asked them, what is the matter? Why you have come down all the way from Delhi? The main people of this procession presented the shoe on a silver plate to him and passed on the message from the Aurangzeb. Imagine what any other king would have done. They would have put the shoe on the throne, right? But no, not our Veerappa Nayagar. He said, he asked a servant to get the shoe and he tried immediately putting the shoe on his feet. And while trying, he said that your king is very miserly, my dear friends. Why is he sending me only one shoe? What can I do with what should I do with my other leg? Ask him to send both the shoes, then I'll come down and greet you. Hearing these words, the main members of the procession were totally thunderstruck. They never expected this kind of reaction from my local king. And they felt very ashamed as well. Haha, this king is scolding our Basha. What is this? What is happening? So they just thought for a minute and said, okay, fine, we'll go ahead and pass this message to Aurangzeb. But our Veerappa Nayagar is one person who will not keep mum. He knows if this person goes back to Aurangzeb and reports this issue, then it will become a bigger issue. So as soon as these people went out of the court, he killed all the people, including their elephants, animals, everything, and sent that message saying like they met with a death. Luckily for us, at that point of time, Aurangzeb was surrounded by a wise council of members. They advised that this is not the way you should treat your kings. So Aurangzeb, please stop this ritual, fancy ritual or the foolish ritual, whatever we might call. And luckily, my dear friends, Aurangzeb stopped this ritual after this incident. Isn't it interesting? Our Veerappa Nayagar had done all this because he didn't want his self-esteem to get hurt. He wanted to safeguard his own Madurai kingdom as well as his prestige. His ego he didn't want his ego to get hurt. And I want to ask you one question. Where did Veerappa Nayagar got all this bravery, courage, and self-esteem? Yes, it is none other than our main protagonist, Queen Mangammal's training. That shows how good our Queen Mangammal is as a mother, as a lady. First thing, she has stood against evil social norms. Second, she played her role as a mother and made her son a brave, courageous person who is there to take care of Madurai Nadu. But then time never plays for anybody's favor, isn't it? Veerappa Nayagar's time on the Madurai kingdom is only for a very limited period. Veerappa Nayagar got caught with some unknown illness and passed away in 1689, which is just 7 years of his ruling period. At that point of time, Veerappa Nayagar's wife, Muthammal, was pregnant. So she immediately wanted to perform sati, despite knowing the fact that her mother-in-law didn't perform sati for her father-in-law. Muthammal still wanted to go ahead with the social law and do sati. Then Queen Mangammal had convinced Muthammal to wait till the baby is born, because the reason which she used there is that we don't have any heir apparent for Madurai Nadu. We need a king who can ensure the safety and security of the people in and around Madurai. Madurai people are dependent on us as the Nayagar family. So it's our duty to give them a good king. So you cannot take, you have all the right to take your life, but you don't have right to take your baby's life. So please wait till delivery is over. Muthammal patiently waited for the delivery to get over. As soon as she delivered the baby, within first 2 months, she committed suicide. So Queen Mangammal was left with no other choice but to take care of this infant baby who is just 2 to 3 months old. They named this baby as Vijayaranga Chokkanath Nayakar. Do you remember the scene from Bahubali where the queen holds the baby in her hands and shows that this is the heir apparent for the Bahubali kingdom? In the similar way, Queen Mangammal made our infant baby Vijayaranga Chokkanath Nayakar as the king apparent for the Madurai Nadu, and she started ruling Madurai as a queen regent. And once again, I just want to take you back to little political history. Remember, we're talking about 16th century where the entire India is in a turbulent state. After becoming queen, the life was never easy for Queen Mangammal. She is being surrounded by enemies all around the place. Travancore Empire is trying to take away her seat from down south. Tanjavur Marathas and Ramnad kings are trying to take away, upset her from her position. From the right side, Mysore kings from the left side. Mughal Empire is always bossing over from the top, from the northern India, right? And as I already told you, she is not a warrior queen. She doesn't know any military skills. She doesn't have fighting skills. She is not a fighter. All she has is her education, the knowledge which she gained through her education, and using that and a good talking power. So she thought that she can negotiate, she can win the deals through mind, not in the battlefield. That's when the twist of Madurai Nadu came. She believed in the fact that enemy is a friend to us. So she assessed all the enemies surrounding her. The Tanjavur Marathas, Ramnad kings, Travancore kings, Mysore kings. Who is the Mughal Empire? Who is the biggest of all? Mughal Empire. So she extended her hand of friendship to Mughal Empire and said, if you let my kingdom be independent, I can give you friend. I can just offer you my friendship and the support to your team. In case if you try to attack Tanjavur or Ramnad or Travancore, I can give you support, the local support which is required for you. You cannot come all the way from north and try to attack Travancore or Ramnad or Mysore for that matter, which was very gladly accepted by Mughal Empire. So, because of that bonding, she started expanding her kingdom little by little, and she started gaining some areas from Tanjavur side, from Ramnath side, from Travancore side. And here is one interesting episode that I want to tell you. Tanjavur Marathas, I already told you, right? They are trying to attack our Queen Mangammal and upset her from her throne. Um, so they sent one day one army to attack Madurai Nadu. At that point of time, Queen Mangammal, along with her trusted army chief, that is Senapati Narsapayar, had decided and devised a plan to attack the Tanjavur Marathas as soon as she heard the news. Tanjavur Marathas has the largest in army battalions, large cavalry when compared to Madurai Nadu. Definitely, she cannot lead her army battalion into the field directly because she is not a skilled person. So what should she do? She sent her limited army battalion to Tanjavur to attack the Tanjavur fort. Look at her, intelligence, isn't it? Should we call it as cunningness? She didn't want to face the enemy in the battlefield because she knows she'll be the person who will be at loss if she faces them at the battlefield. She went through the back door and attacked the enemy at its own at their home. Now, Tanjavur Marathas didn't have any other option except to rush back to Tanjavur and safeguard their fort. That's how she won the battle. In a similar way, she should always win the battles with Ramnad kings, Travancore Empire, Mysore kings in this way, one way or the other. She always used her negotiation and used to work out on the coups or on the revolts against all these people and then expand her kingdom. That is not all, my dear friends. She is the person who is a visionary, I should say, at that point of time. She knew that in any kingdom, if people are happy, then the king will be happy and the king can prosper. So she ensured that the employment is getting generated for all the people in her kingdom. She constructed a lot of temples, chowdhuries, hospitals, and she started, small scale industries like the weaving, then leather industry, everything. In fact, she even had gone ahead and built the entire highway road, the first known recorded highway road from Madurai to Kanyakumari. Remember, at that point of time, we don't have cars or vans to travel on the road. There is no need for a highway. People can walk through the forest. But why did she build it? Because she wanted people to have a safe and good travel experience. Along with the road, she's planted trees on both sides of the roads, built tall trees for the people to rest. Isn't it a good forethought? And she also helped in restoring the main hall of Madurai temple. And she's built the Summer Palace in Madurai. And she has established a lot of monuments in and around Trichy area, which are currently in the deteriorating stage. That's not all to her. As I told you, she's already taking care of the health, employment, food, everything for the people. There is one more twist. She is also a very secular person, maybe the first known secular person of the Indian history. She is a very staunch Hindu devotee, and she prays very religiously to Madurai Meenakshi Amman. But at the same time, her principle is simple. If you have a different god and if you want to worship different god, you all feel you can be free to worship that god. As long as please don't come and derogate my god or talk bad about my god, or similarly, I will not talk bad about your god, which is very good, isn't it? Perfect secularism, isn't it? That is the time. I mean, 13th century onwards, if you see in Tamilnadu history, there are a lot of clashes between Shaivism and Vishnuism. You know what it is, right? Shaivism is some sect of people who worship Lord Shiva. Vishnuites are the other set of people who worship Lord Shiva, Vishnu. So the people who worship Lord Vishnu never used to like the people who worship Shiva, and similar way. So always these clashes used to go on between one another. But after Mangammal, Queen Mangammal took the reins of Madurai Nadu, all these fights have stopped because she had given free space and time for each and every set of believers. In fact, in her kingdom, even Christians and Muslims were living happily. Now you might be wondering, how come Christians and Muslims are there at that point of time in 16th, 17th century? Yes, my dear friends, we already had Portuguese and Dutch invasions. Even the Britishers started coming in at that point of time itself. And we have our Mughal invasions, right? So Muslims are coming from Mughal invasion, which Christians are coming from these Portuguese, Dutch invasions. Whatever may be, people have the flexibility to choose whatever religion which they believe, whatever God they believe, and they were living peacefully without any clashes. And now, last story. The moment we talk about Kerala, I mean, sorry, not Kerala, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, most of the people who are politically aware of the situation always say, yeah, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka always have these water fights about the river Kaveri and all that stuff. But what if I ask you the question saying, when is the first, no, when do you think the first water fights between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu has started? You might say it might be after the independence, right? No, my dear friends, it started in 17th century itself. The Chikkadevaraya king from Mysore kings had decided to build a grand aneckad on Kaveri river so that he can stop the entire flow of Kaveri river and divert it to his fields in Mysore and let the Madurai kingdom suffer. Why did he do it? He was jealous of the prosperity of Madurai kingdom. He was jealous of the name and fame which Queen Mangammal was getting because of good practices, good administrative skills, and stuff like that. He didn't want, so he wanted Madurai people to suffer somehow. Hearing this, Queen Mangammal knew what to do. She went and approached Tanjavur kings and said, if I'm not getting water, even you are also not getting water. And the main reason for all these troubles is our Chikkadevaraya. So why can't we go and talk to him that water is free for everybody? We all should enjoy water. And then some Tanjavur king also agreed to her point of view and said, okay, fine, let us go and talk to him. If it's not, we'll go and wage a war against Chikkadevaraya. Luckily for them, that year monsoon was a very heavy one. It washed away the grand aneckad built by Chikkadevaraya, and Kaveri water started flowing down to Tanjore and Madurai. So this, my dear friend, is the story of Queen Mangammal, who is the most secular queen, who is a very good administrator, who is to take care of all her subjects, the people in the Madurai kingdom, everything. Then why did she actually be lost in the Indian history? Is it because she believed that every person is equivalent to her other person? She wanted the good to happen to them. Like what are the core Indian values of Vasudhaiva Kutumbam? Or is it that she's a totally secular person who started the secular feeling thoughts at that point of time in 17th century? Or is it because she's the first person to stand against the social norm and become a queen? Think about it. Let's meet another interesting personality tomorrow. Till then, have a safe day. Enjoy your time. Bye bye.